Hey. Oh my gosh. It has been so long. Welcome to Feedback and Friends. My name is Alicia and you're watching ILBC TV, the International Live Beat Challenge. I've really missed all of you guys. Real props out to Nathaniel Wyvern, who has just tirelessly continued to hold down the fort and review your tracks and be awesome like he always is. I've been busy relocating to Denmark, and it's a small country, but it's a big job. Changed a lot about my life. I'm pretty much not touring anymore, except for special occasions. I recently played at Noisily Festival in the UK. And what else? Yeah, I've been moving into my new studio. You can see it behind me. It's still not totally set up yet, but we are getting there. Got some really cool stuff in store for you this week. We have a special guest coming up, William Light from LHI Audio. Super excited to hear his perspective on things. He's going to be here in a little while. But for now, let's say hello to my friend, Nathaniel.
Hello, everybody.
Woo!
It's been looking forward to this next run of Feedback and Friends, where we actually have a schedule starting to form again, which is nice. Been a while.
It has totally been a while, and I'm really excited to hear all your music. I feel like we've got, personal relationships now with so many people that join into the stream, and I really get inspired by all of you so much. So I'm really excited to hear. First off, we have Jetters. And was there, did you want to read something about any specific feedback that they would like?
Sent this 1 month ago and I finally reached the final stages. Do you guys have any last minute suggestions before I make something out of this track?
Last minute suggestions. All right, let's check it out. This is Crystalline by Jetters. Whoa, this has got some really, really cool vibes to it. I'm just gonna start off and say, yeah, I really love like a lot of the color-based stuff that's been coming out. I like all the stuff you're doing. Some people in the chat are saying it's a lot of different ideas for one track. I would say possibly. And you know, again, you always got to figure out your audience. If you're just making this for your own pure enjoyment, you do whatever you want. And this is our standard disclaimer, right? But I do think that you have so many good ideas. It would be a shame to just have too many of them and not have people kind of focus on one thing. Like, you know, making a track is a lot like making a movie. You have to figure out where is your focus, right? You can't have everything in focus all at the same time. And I think with ideas here, you do have a lot of different stuff coming into focus. But I do love, like, your synth work is really cool. The arrangement is generally got some really good energy. I would say the lead, sometimes I feel like you could do a little bit more with it, just really subtly, like filtering it a little bit, maybe like changing the tone subtly over the course of the song, or like doing a round with different instruments, because it sits to me tonally, timbrely, just a little bit flat compared to the really cool stuff that you have going on around it. So I would say that would be only one nitpicky thing. And I'm not talking about majorly changing it. I'm just saying like slow, subtle effects that sort of texturize it for the listener. The only other thing that I would say is there was that bass in the second part, that really low kind of dissonant. And I'm not 100% feeling like that needs to be there. But again, just my opinion. I don't know. What did you think, Natty?
I think on the whole it sounded pretty good, but there were some instances where I felt the density of the mix was kind of too high. Like that really atonal transition into the last section. It was almost...
Exactly. That's the part I was
too loud, because everything else had already been really crazy and loud, when it's already different enough and tension building enough just by being so atonal.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel you.
So maybe just see if you can pull some of that elements back down, or strip some bits out of that, just to make it a bit lighter and airier in comparison to everything else that you've got, because your songwriting is actually really interesting, and I think it's strong enough to stand on its own without just being crazy loud throughout the whole track.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But I mean, that being said, I think it's pretty dope, honestly. Like, you have a good idea and it's playable, and it just could use that last like 10%. So yeah, I guess we can move on to our next one from Citros. And what's up with Citros, Daniel?
Next up with Citros is, I wonder if there's anything I can add other than vocals, as I'm working on that. Need general feedback on the drums and the synths.
Okay, drums and synths. And let's check this out. Let's go.
Yeah.
8.5-minute track, so I think we're going to start giving some feedback now. Okay, so it's hard for me to, sorry, accidentally stop. It's hard for me to comment on like what should be done with this kind of genre sometimes, because there's so many like subtleties to it, right? Like this kind of progressive deadmau5 is usually about like slow, long filtering, but I do think that maybe there could be even a little bit more going on, because I've listened to 3 minutes of this and it doesn't feel like it's evolving slowly. It kind of feels like it hits a good place, but then it stays there. So, I mean, I think that there's a balance, right, between hypnosis and repetition and getting the vibe up, and also holding interest, right, and getting your listener engaged. So I would say even just a little bit more of this stuff. I would like to hear some more rich filtering. There's something a little bit thin, I think, overall about the synths. So I would almost try some like saturation, tape emulation, just to make it really rich and fat. Because what I've noticed, right, is that as a sound designer, you want to do all kinds of actually like complicated stuff sometimes, but the stuff that people universally respond to are usually these warm, simple waveforms, and you almost have that. You have a really nice, clean, well-chorded synth, but I want to hear it be just really rich and warm. I want it to bathe me in even harmonics, you know? and then I can just listen to it all day. So it could be perhaps that you need to do a little bit of what we call micro tensions, like small things like dropping out a couple drum hits here and there a little bit more often. Could also just be warmth of tone and just compelling me to just sit there and bathe in it. So, Nathaniel, do you want to bathe in it?
That'd be nice. I think that'd be a nice pool there of synths.
Also crank your mic up a little bit.
Do you think it has little bubbles? Bubble bath.
Bubble bath.
But I think that's the other thing as well, with when you got a synth with like whatever, doesn't really matter, most of them have so many variables you can tweak. It's not, I think you can go further than just opening and closing your cutoff for your filter.
Exactly.
Like you have the resonance toggle, the portamento or glide, so that you can change the actual way the notes move between each other. Some of them are allow you to do polyphonic glide as well, so which can be really cool. And if you do it not all the time, just add that little bit of spice every so often. And like I think that's often what would allow a track like this to elevate itself from being a sort of, it's definitely inspired by deadmau5, it's set in the mid 2000s kind of vibe, to
Oof.
well, to we have a modern synthesizer that can do literally anything.
Yeah, fair point.
At least that's kind of how I feel about it. Like, you have all these tools and like nobody's expecting it to be super complex changes, but if you have that ability, then you might as well use it. It's fun.
Use your abilities.
Fun.
Yeah.
It's a nice vibe so far. I think it's a solid vibe. It's just, yeah, I agree with the sort of plateau, but it hits a point and then, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very nice to talk over, right? But I think that most people are not trying to make music to be talked over unless they're making it specifically for licensing, right? So I think you can just add a little bit more sparkle and really get us interested. Cool. Next up, who do we have next? Oh, we have a cue skipper, right? Blueprints. What number? Where are they?
10.
All right. So what's up with them? You want to read their deepest hopes and desires for feedback?
Just overall tips. Phrasing.
Just overall tips. Okay, you're a minimalist. I got you. Blueprints. Check you out.
Every single time I fall down, I know that you're with me. Save me from myself. I just want love. Feel the rhythm of the beat before. Come with me. you in your eyes. Tell me, baby, if you want me, I want you in my life. Feel the rhythm of the beat before. Come on, baby, you're my lady. Please don't take me astray. You're mine, and I'm yours.
Whoa. That was an awesome surprise. Nadia, I'm going to let you go first on that one. I'm still taking a little tropical vacation in my mind.
Well, that was a really solid vibe right there. I think on the whole, the actual production values for it sounded pretty good, although there were a couple of moments where you go into your falsetto, and I think they could probably benefit from having a subtle harmony underneath that uses your normal range, just to beef up a little bit, because it does get a slight bit brittle in a way that probably isn't as smooth as you're intending it to be. I think my only other real feedback here, because I think your delivery on the whole is really nice, and your lyrics are really nice too, but you could probably look at trying to go a little bit early in places more than you are, because you're pretty much staying right between the lines for most of it, and it doesn't sound quite so natural when you do that. So that's kind of where I'm thinking. What about you? Did you hear that too, Isha?
Yeah, I think maybe, and I would have liked to have heard a little bit more layering of vocals because you have such a really nice voice. I mean, I don't know why my theme tonight is bathing in things, but I want to bathe in your voice as well. I just want to take a lot of baths today. What can I say? Oh, it's a different kind of stream, isn't it? But yeah, I think I want to hear more layers and panned out and like just getting really rich, because other than that, I mean, that was just so nice. I really enjoyed the energy. And Didactic, what's up in the chat, saying I had a stressful day and I really needed to hear that. Same. I mean, my day wasn't like insane, but it was the kind of day where that is exactly what you want to hear when you come home and relax. So I loved it. Sunny Sky said, I kind of got lost in the song. I love that. I felt the same way. So, all right, now we're going to
praise that one.
Roll back. Next, I believe, is it XE Fusion. Very nice. What's going on with XE Fusion? Big ups for the Audius link, as usual.
Is it good enough?
Is it good enough? It's XE Fusion. Come on, your stuff is always super sweet.
And then next up after XE Fusion, we have Dreambells. Thank you for donating.
Oh, goodness. All right. See. gosh. Oh my gosh. The ever rhetorical question of XE Fusion, is it good enough? I've been a fan forever. I mean, XE Fusion made such good music, every single track. From the first time, I guess it was a remix competition, right? Love your stuff. I really don't have much to say. Again, like, I've had these funny discussions with people lately about like designing stuff and then people feeling like they need to comment. So you need to deliberately like leave one little mistake just so they can pick on that and not pick on something that's already perfect. And so if I don't really have anything to say except that you're doing a chord progression that I often do too. It's like a very classic chord progression. So I would challenge you, something I've been doing, because like I'm a piano player and I've played a lot of classical and a lot of jazz and I'm into a lot of R&B, and humans have patterns. We tend to do the same thing. And so that's like a very familiar chord pattern. When I got over my own ego of like, I'm a keyboard player, I don't need any sort of help arranging, and I tried out these chord plugins like Scalar, MIDI, and things like that. Sometimes they just break up your brain patterns a little bit, and you can just try out, like with Scalar, you can just like try alternatives to the chord progression you have. And even if you just like change some voicing just a little bit and not even change the chords themselves, you can get such cool things that you might have not thought of originally. So if I were nitpicking what is already a dope track, and you could totally not touch it and it would still be dope, but you could add some more complex voicings to the root chords, maybe, just to make it a little bit extra unique. So I don't know. Natty, what do you think?
Yeah, I can think of a few songs in my Spotify library that have similar chord progressions or the same chord progression, so I do get what you mean. It's always an interesting question, isn't it? Because chords can either be overt or implied. And I think that this track, as it is, leans very much on being just bang you over the head of these are the chords. And it can definitely be hard to deconstruct them in a way that maintains the structure of the track.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to do this sort of wall of sound thing. Like, you know, that it's such a tricky balancing act. So, you're doing better than me with this sort of stuff. I can tell you that much. Because, yeah, really intense, but you also knew when to drop it out a bit, which is good. And I think the only other thing is that unless you're really, really loyal to that sort of euphoric trancey sound, that maybe getting a little bit weirder with your super saw sort of elements might be worthwhile as well. But I don't know. It just depends how keen you are on appealing to a specific niche, as it were, or whether you're just willing to just do whatever.
That's always the question, though, right? Like, who are you making it for? Because there's always the advice of not caving to anyone else's opinion. And then there's the whole like connecting or like, I'm trying to do this. So take it as you may. As always, feedback and friends. We got Dream Bells up, and Dream Bells gave us a $5, which means deluxe feedback, deluxe treatment. Is there any specific feedback that Dream Bells was looking for?
Yes. Ignore the clipping, please. Are the ideas good? Do the transitions work? Do the vocals work? Does anything else stand out, positive or negative? Thank you. So,
Lots of stuff.
everything except ignore the clipping?
Ignore the clipping. Okay. All right, Dream Bells, let's go. All right, so
Ignore the clipping.
ignore the clipping. I mean, that's kind of a paradox. Ignore the
The
clipping.
clipping is the aesthetic.
Ay, 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 ay. I mean, it's got this like badass vibe to it, and I totally appreciate the whole like punk rock aesthetic. But yeah, the clipping. I mean, the thing is people think that if you just keep turning it up louder, it gets louder. But in the end, it kind of gets quieter because people turn it down, and then it doesn't have any dynamic range. So you end up just with this like flat. Like part of what makes music feel loud is that it pushes and it pulls, right? It pumps. That's why people go so crazy for speakers. They like to like lean up against them and, feel that. But if you distort and you clip that much, then you don't have any room for your track to breathe anymore. It's all just like it's like when you photocopy your face, right? I know that's like makes me sound like a boomer because who uses that anymore, but like you put your face down on the glass of a photocopy machine, is going to squish all your features. You're going to look real weird. So, God, what am I going to make next? A floppy disk joke? Oh, goodness. Natty, I'm old. Do you want to just give your opinion?
I'm gonna be right back. Gonna go photocopy my face because that's something people do on a day-to-day basis. oh, God damn it. I agree with XC Fusion. I thought the clipping was cool, but I agree with the comments somebody said about the resonance. Ink and Pretzels, resonance here feels kind of harsh. The resonance across the whole track feels too harsh. And it's a combination of two things that are doing that. One is, well, because you've effectively just used some sort of distortion plugin indiscriminately, when you're going to have to go in and tweak everything dynamically as your track progresses on each element. When you look at how people would perform something like this live, they'd likely use a couple of different distortion pedals as well as an amp, and they'd switch between them as they go up to ramp up the intensity. I think that would be how I would do it if I was trying to perform this. And each person maybe, because they're, it's sort of harsh noise, you'd have the vocalist might have their own pedal, the guitarist would have a couple each, and each of them would be set to slightly different settings because you can't change the knobs mid-flow because you can't just reach down, it doesn't work that way, so you have to use multiple. But that's kind of the spirit you got to go in to develop this track in a way that feels legitimate and organic, is that you think about the actual equipment you would have on the stage with you to do it. Because you are leaning into that punk rock aesthetic, and it has a history and a approach that there's only so many ways to do it on a stage. But the other thing is, when you do end up with these really wild resonances and harmonics, is they're then smashing right into your limiter, and then that's adding whatever character it can on top of it, as well as trying to squish everything down even more. And so it ends up with just sort of, you end up with more of the stuff you don't want in your mix being amplified.
It's a vicious cycle.
And that's why it kind of sounds really dodgy in a way that's it's meant to sound crunchy, not piercing. That's kind of what you want. Like a bag of crisps. You don't want the bag of crisps to make your tongue fall off.
I love these like deep metaphors we're getting into already. And then the chat, like I tried photocopying my fingerprint once and it didn't work because my scanner wasn't very good. Sweet. Oh, is this like Seinfeld or Three's Company? Who knocks at yonder door?
What's up?
Oh my God.
Oh, I
do
don't know.
Do you hear this, people? Do you hear this? Do you see this? We got William Light and his dinner. Special guest.
I was gonna. Dinner was super late, but I just, I'm sitting downstairs listening to all the tunes, and I'm like, I don't want to keep missing out.
It's cool. It's cool. You can eat on stream. It's allowed.
Okay, it's permissible here.
I'm sure
I've been
somebody
eating at
really
chocolate
enjoys
bar.
watching people eat. How you doing?
I'm good. Good evening, everyone. My name is William Light. You may know me as the guy behind LHI Audio. I write plugins. I do music too. I had a solo release on Inspected last summer 2022, called Lift You Up. Cool little breaky track. And then myself and the Caracal Project had a track called Laminar out on UKF February of this year. More coming, but plugins come first.
Plugins come first. And actually, it's a special
over here.
it's a special treat to have you here because making plugins, we're going to do our plugin of the week and we're going to talk about one of William's really, really, really cool plugins. So excited for that. Excited for that. So next up we have, I believe it's Embrecate. And Natty, what does Embrecate want?
Made an old track into a remix. I used AI to rip the vocals. I'm not going to officially release this. Overall mix critiques would be nice. I want to know of any suggestions for adjustments to the mix, clashing frequencies, too much sub, phase cancellations, drowned out vocals, etc. So this is a VIP of a track. Embrecate, I assume that the reason you had to use AI for it is because you lost the stems or the project file or something.
Or they just ripped it. Yeah, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, we're good.
No stems. No stems. Oh no. Back up your stuff, people. Back up your stuff. Then you don't have to use magic software to try and fix it.
This is the deluxe feedback edition, so we're going to listen to it all. A disclaimer for William, there's still some bass holes in the studio, so until I put these big babies up.
Should I be exploring the space?
Explore the space.
Should I explore the space?
Find the sweet spot. All right, this is Escapism Shizaru remix.
Sleazing and teasing, I'm sitting on it. All of my diamonds are dripping on it. I met him at the bar, it was 12 or something. I ordered 2 more wines, cause tonight I want it. I don't wanna feel how my heart is ripping. In fact, I don't wanna feel, so I'll stick to sipping. And I'm out on the town with a simple mission. In my little black dress and the shit is sitting. Just a little context if you care to listen. I find myself in a shit position. The man that I love sat me down last night and he told me that it's over, done decision. Back to my ways like 2019. 24 hours since my ex did that. I think I knew my mommy is about to get hurting.
So just a regular reminder, we don't usually allow remixes because the big bad gods of algorithms tend to mute us. But that was kind of cool. We've been talking a lot about AI in general. Of course, it's the hot topic. And that track, apparently AI was used to isolate the vocals. So yeah, I guess I'm going to let our esteemed guest go first with some feedback. What do you think of that?
That was a really cool track. That was really cohesive. The flow was really good across the board. If I had to say anything, I would kind of wish that there was less going on further forward of the vocals, if that makes sense. That the vocals sounded really good and the way they were used in the track is really good, but I kind of like, especially in the build, I kind of wanted to hear more of the vocals there, you know, have the confidence to like strip that back just a little bit. That's really it. Everything else, mixed down, master, sound design, flow, drums, everything sounds great.
Yeah, I'd say the same. I think maybe what you can do sometimes if you really need to rip vocals is murder them a little bit more. Like do some weird edits, do some, just mangle them and play with them and sort of use that challenge of like, okay, I can't really use this acapella as is. Well, just mess with it. Have fun, create like something weird. And sometimes I'll do something like that and I'll mean for it to be a little micro edit and it'll end up being this whole other idea that leads the song in a new direction. So just an idea, but I also thought like the sound design was cool. Not really much to say other than that. What about you, Natty?
Honestly, it's kind of a shame that it's a remix, because with the vocals, obviously it means you can't release the really neat instrumental you've got going on there.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you just go treat it like an educational exercise, then that's fine too. But it makes me want to hear something that that's entirely original now from here. Or I just move closer. Sorry, it's a bit weird right now with my
I just want to hear your
Lots of
dulcet
background
Scottish
noise.
tones up close with all those high, delicious
But,
frequencies.
I don't know, Isha, how often have you seen people come to a vocalist and say, I've got this thing that was a remix, I want to turn it into a cover. Can you do a replacement vocal with, the same song, basically, but new vocals? Does that happen very often?
I'm not sure about often, but I'm aware of several, I want to say 2 fairly big electronic tracks that came out in the last year that was the case with. I think there was one I'm personally aware of that was supposed to be a remix, but the label that was going to release it kept stalling for so long that the artist who didn't remix anymore found another vocalist to come work on the track, and that turned out to be like a really big track.
And Chris the Wizard is pointing out covers are legal. And so, yeah, I mean, you can also make covers, but just not remixes. So you could actually get like another vocalist to re-sing it, and you just have to do the crediting, and then if they make any money, it splits the publishing and all that. But yeah, I mean, that's a good point. You could take that instrumental and just like find a different vocalist, or I've done it. You know what? Like people have come to me and
Yeah.
they've used my sample pack and they've been like, hey, I made this track and I just would really like to use an original vocal. And sometimes I've just done a new one and it's turned out great.
And sometimes they've ignored a new one.
You could maybe just like get a mic stand over here too.
I know, sorry. I have a mic stand. I cannot take this off so that it will screw in. If you can get it off.
There's also one here too.
Yeah, exactly. If you can get one of those things off, you got a mic stand. That's where I got stuck. Anyways, I'm still unpacking my studio. Thank you for your patience. Yeah, but thank you for everything, Amber Kate. Thanks for the donation and everything. Do we have Eggy Toast up next? Is that who's up?
That is correct, yes.
And what do they
Whip,
have to
perhaps
say?
half done. Happy for any feedback. It is a quieter, sleepy song.
A sleepy. Okay. All right. Let's check out the sleepy song demo. Audience again, big up. ups to the vibe of the Sleepy song. I'm really enjoying the Sleepy song. It's very mellow.
Big ups to the vibe.
Yeah, you had some good feedback, Will.
Yeah, I really like that song. I felt like the progression and the flow were really good. Like I didn't find myself wanting it to change any more or less than it did. With all due respect, I feel like those are the wrong drums. Like I feel like I want something more kind of like filtered, more like atmospheric, kind of like almost dub techno-y, you know, low pass kick drum type vibe. But I think I think it's a great song. I really enjoyed it. I just think it has the wrong drums. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think not just the wrong drums, but like the programming itself. You can do so much just by messing with your hi-hats. Like, there's like intricate ways, there's lazy ways. There's so many ways to alter things. You know, for instance, if I'm feeling really lazy and I have hi-hats like that, I'll do a side chain on the hi-hats and I'll do like a really long envelope and it'll make it like pulse in and out around the kick and sometimes the snare. And then you get this velocity variation just by the fact that the side chain is pulling the drums in and out.
I would say go listen to some of John Hopkins's non-four on the floor stuff. Like, you know, Open Eye Signal is a classic, but off of that same album, there was a track I think called Breathe This Air. That's just like this really stripped down atmospheric type thing. And I'm just kind of like go listen to some of that and kind of like see if that brings any ideas, if that drums up any inspiration for you.
Good vibes. Good recommendation. I agree. Nice. Eggy Toast, I think, is familiar. Natty.
I also noticed some weird accidental notes thrown in occasionally. And I think it'd be less weird if everything else wasn't so rigid. Like, if it felt like there was more of an ambiance, a sense of space to the actual track, it would be like you just have these sort of little moments that are peeking in from some other room or down the road or whatever. You know, that kind of... Like, it makes it from being an accidental, weird theory thing to something that actually is just part of the storytelling. Because right now it's just sort of, okay, these little bits happen and it doesn't sound quite right. I don't know. Maybe I'm just going crazy.
You're always going crazy.
That's
okay.
probably true too.
You're so crazy, Nathaniel. I cannot handle this craziness. Oh, did somebody say ear candy? Yes.
Candy.
I think that's a good
Ear candy.
I love that he's sitting here with my drill in his hand.
I'm trying to fix it. There's a mic stand over here that I gotta. This is a home improvement stream. This is a home improvement stream now. I gotta fix a mic stand midstream.
The funny thing about it is that's like a drum mic, and so we were testing it before you got here, and Natty's like, yeah, that's a little bit bassy, but it'll be perfect for Will. So I bet you sound like some kind of like national broadcaster right
Usually,
now.
I mean, usually you want to pair the mic that kind of like does the opposite, right? So like the mic I use for vocals at home is like a little bit high passed and is like really sparkly in the highs.
I get
you know?
it, but today you're like a 1950s tube radio announcer. All right, just work with it. Cool. Who is up next, Nathaniel? Who is up?
Defective, aka Ekitali. Or Ekitai? Ekitai. Sorry, there's
Ekitai?
2 I's, not an L and I. They're looking for just overall production feedback. That's entry number 6 in the form there for you.
All right.
Cybermouse
Entry
+ 3.
number 6. Sounds good, and I will put it on right now. Whoops, that link does not work. Missing the secret at the end. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to come back to you. If you could send us an updated link.
You gotta under the, if it's a secret track, there's a little thing under the waveform that says copy link. You gotta click the copy link. You can't just copy it out of the URL. You gotta click the copy link.
Yeah, click the copy link and we'll come back to you. So we're just going to move on right now to Chris the Wizard. Oh, it's so cool, Chris, to just be back and to have you on the show right away. It's always fun to hear. Do you want to talk about Chris's track? Oh, you got the video. Come on. Should I just play it off of YouTube and put it on the screen? Maybe we should do that, huh? I think we should do that. What's your vote, Nathaniel? Should we put Chris the Wizard's video on the screen? Is it
Of course.
safe? Is it kids
I
safe?
don't know.
I don't know.
I'm
feel-
gonna assume so. Chris is pretty wholesome.
All right. I'm going to just take a chance and I'll put it on small and I'll make it big if it's suitable for the public. But I'm a little scared now. All right, Chris. Love ya. See you on the YouTubes.
When you ever fall, to look you in the eye, you're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. You float like a feather in a beautiful world. I wish I was special. You're so very special. But I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't care if it hurts. I wanna have control. I want a perfect body. I want a perfect soul. I want you to notice when I'm not around. So very special. I wish I was special. But I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here.
Whoa. All right. That was not what I expected. Maddie, how do you feel about that?
It took me a second to realize that it was a cover of one of Radiohead's songs. I was like, I'm sure this is familiar. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But it's really hard when it comes to something like this because I'd say the original is actually quite rigid in terms of how it's constructed with the. I think it was originally a guitar track anyway, but like, you know, the actual pace of it is just a constant onward gentle ramp up to the final climax of the thing, and then it just drops out. You know, it's like super linear. There's not a huge amount of dynamic variation in the original, and I think that that's something with this one here, this version of the song, that I would like to see more of a change, like some sort of surprise rather than just a straight cover. Like,
I totally
I don't know,
agree.
maybe bring your climax a bit earlier and then give us a more interesting dynamic ambient outro of some kind, or so. I'm thinking, I don't know. And I don't, obviously it's hard as well because the sort of dark synthy aesthetic doesn't lend itself well to being super dynamic.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have to make some decisions there if you do pursue changing it up a little bit.
I mean, you can do a lot of stuff to evolve it. It's like the same comment I left on the progressive house, right? Where like sometimes you don't want to change it a ton and you want to focus on the vocal, but you could even like do some like synthesized harmonies, like an octave above for like the second part. Like you could just make something different, you know, like even like just traditional pop songs, they have this kind of evolution so that you build your energy. So I think just like there's a lot you could do, and of course lots more ear candy.
Ear. Sorry. Yeah. Make one of the drops halftime or something. Do get a little goofy with it.
Halftime. Oh, that's a cool idea. I kind of like. Yeah. Ooh. I totally agree. I think he should just sample the clip of what you just did
Okay, shit.
and do a halftime part over it. Oh, that would be really cool. Oh, all right. Who is next? Is it? Oh, we skipped a few people.
It's
so-
Ekatai. They sent us a submission. I DM'd you the correct link for that.
All right. Oh, you slid into the DMs. Good job, Natty. I didn't even see you. That's how slick you were. Okay.
They're looking for just overall production feedback, and thank you for the submission, Chris. I did enjoy what you're going for. I think the video is actually quite dynamic and captivating. Are you using more of your AI generated video editor sort of stuff right now?
AI generated.
You'll have to let us know
video.
on the secret of the video making process.
Does it have to be the theme of today? It's always the theme lately, but you know what?
We're still not done with it yet.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
Oh,
All
boy.
right, Ekitai. Yo, what? Yes. Yeah, we
Yep.
just kept saying yes.
Uh-huh.
I think that's our feedback. It's just,
Well,
yep.
two things I want to say. The vocals sounded really good. Have the confidence to mix those further forward. A lot of stuff in front of the vocals. I want to hear the vocals. They sound great. Push them forward. Also, I love breakbeats. I love chopped up shit. The way that you structured your drop, I loved it. Especially with the 4/4 in the intro. I was like, all right, 4/4 drop would be cool, but and then you boom, boom, boom. Yo, love it. There's a couple places there where again, I would just love to hear that confidence to highlight the edits you're doing. I feel like you're trying to do the edits at the same time you're trying to keep atmosphere going. Strip the atmosphere back. Push the edits, push the chopped up shit, push that to the front. I just finished a remix where in a couple places I was doing a similar sort of chopped up breakbeaty type thing, and the more that I stripped back from some of those drop parts, the harder everything hit. So it sounds like you might be falling into that same trap that I was when I started working on that track. So strip it back a little bit more. Really let that attitude come forward.
Agreed. Natty, what's say?
I thought it was really enjoyable, but yeah, I can see what you mean about choosing your impact points wisely. I think it's something. It's so easy to lose perspective on that one. I do it myself.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I think part of it comes down to fatigue as well. When you spend hours and hours working on just one idea in one burst.
Yeah.
So take breaks. Take breaks, people. Take breaks.
definitely.
But good submission. I actually really enjoyed that one. Thank
Really
you.
good track. Really good track.
Nice. Who is up next? We've got another skip through Capty Man. Oh, Sunny Skies, of course. That's cool. I'm excited to hear from Sunny Skies. It's been a minute. Hope you're well. Any sort of specific feedback that Sunny Skies is looking for?
So I decided to get back into house. I was originally trying to do trance, but it turned more progressive. I'm looking for feedback on transitions and suggestions for sound design and sounds that would work for this style of song. Currently most of it sketched out with 3x oscillator. I'm also looking for rhythm and drum advice.
Okay, Sunny Skies, I got you.
All right, we got you. It says lower the volume a bit. Let me start. Okay.
You're gonna come right in.
Thank you.
The dark inside is an must see your flight. The winds below will cry out. I wanna find a light, the heart inside a soul. I'll make it right tonight. The walls here cannot bind you.
Okay. Sorry, just trying to balance the new setup. I hear my mic's really quiet. I just gave us a whole bunch of gains, so just tell me if it's still too quiet. I don't want to blow your
Is it still too quiet?
ear candy. Natty, talk, say something. Wow, I think it's pretty loud now. I see it almost clipping, so I would assume that
okay.
I think
I'm
we're
on
good.
mute. That would help.
Okay. This is the most
Myself.
this is the most dainty, delicate mic. I'm just like,
Sorry.
it's,
For me, not
it's your stream. You
you're
get to do
fine.
it.
You're fine. I just want to make sure it's a good balance.
It's your
and-
stream. You get to do whatever
All right.
you want. It's fine.
Sorry about that. Thanks for the, now that this is set up, I can leave my settings. This is my first stream from this new space. So I'm just happy I've managed to not mute myself while talking yet. I'm sure it will happen at some point in the stream. It's a streaming classic.
We need a
Okay.
gift for it.
I hope this is better now, guys. Natty? Say something.
We need a GIF for
You need
muting
to be up
ourselves,
more. I
that's
can
what we
see
need.
it on the
But,
levels. You crank yourself up.
All right, you want to sort that out, and I'll talk about the track. Or you want to talk about the track?
Talk
first?
about the track, please.
Okay, that was a cool kind of like a little bit of a throwback thing. It really put me in mind of like some of Andy Moore's early stuff. I don't know if that name means anything to you, but like he was one of the first people, I think, like, back in like the mid to late 2000s. Everybody was doing the big super saw trance, and Eddie Moore came in and was just like, what if I just played like raw saw wave basses on this shit? Especially the way that you had that drop structure that really kind of like brought back some of that early Andy Moore stuff. I think your drop is maybe a little bit too busy. Those types of bass lines work best when the rhythm's a little bit stompy, you know, when you've just got the kick and the snare kind of going, maybe a little bit of bongo situation. I don't know. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that I liked the vocals you had in the breakdown, but you have a couple things all kind of following the same melodic phrase. You have the bass and the chord progression, the lower vocals, and then the upper vocals, and everything's basically just kind of playing octaves with itself. And if you really want to spice that up, harmonies that aren't just octaves, throwing in some contrary motion, so you've got some pieces of the melodic puzzle that are moving the opposite direction of whatever else you've got going on. That's really a way to kind of like beef those phrases up and yeah, keep them moving. I think you could probably simplify your chord progression, especially in the breakdown too. I don't think it needs to be following the vocals that closely. In terms of drums, I mean, trance is a weird one because there's not really much you can do drum wise. You know, you got your kick drum. I made trance for a long time. All right, I made trance for a while, and there were not many people who were doing like break trance. You know what I mean? Not a lot of break beats in trance, especially these days. The drum sounded okay. Maybe mixed a little bit quietly, but you know, that's a taste thing. Nothing about the drums really felt off to me. I would probably just not have the hi-hat in the drop after the breakdown. Strip it back a little bit.
Yeah, I think you could just do more creative side chaining. Like it would give it a little bit more bounce.
I disagree with that.
Okay. I just feel like it's too.
Oh no! I said I don't disagree with that.
Oh, I don't disagree.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that.
Because that really just, again, the push and the pull. You need to have contrast, and it's cool when you connect elements because then there's a rhythmic sense, and you're not, this is why these things are cool.
Yeah, I want to say again, calling back to Andy Moore. There's one of my favorite trance songs, especially in this style. It's by Ridgewalkers. It's called Find, and it's the Andy Moore remix. I think it was really him nailing this style more than I've heard anybody else nail it. And the track's from like 05 or maybe 04. So Ridgewalkers, Find, Andy Moore remix. Go check that out. See if you get any ideas from that drop.
Nice. All right. Shout out Sunny Skies. So who is next? We have Lickno Beat. Yeah, I think it's Lickno Beat.
Yeah, this alias is apparently Lickno Beat. But
would you like to read out their feedback?
No bite, for some reason.
What's
Let's see.
Hard is saying had to create a song for a contest where I had to mix the 80s
Addy,
style
closer
with
to the
modern
mic.
EDM genres.
Closer to the mic.
General feedback is appreciated.
Okay.
General feedback is appreciated.
I'm curious to see what angle you took on the 80s.
All right, let us check it out.
Was it
my
loading?
Goodness. It is just being. Let me copy again. It loading, reloaded.
All right, let's.
better? I've just increased our mics again. I think also like
So
wow, that's good.
Stop.
yeah, I'm just speaking. I don't know.
Here's the thing though.
Tell me what the thing is.
You have been leaning back from the microphone. You just like stuck your face into it.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, okay, it's right here.
All right. So, what did you think of that track?
I thought that was cool. I was telling Alicia during the track, all you have to do is put a couple chord changes on the upbeats, and like I'm on board. Yo, put them on the eighth notes more. Come on, let's go. I like the progression. I think this is kind of this is a weird style to get right. You know, this is kind of like, it's not synthwave. It's that kind of, God, what would you call the genre? Because it isn't synthwave. It's almost like electronic hair metal, that kind of like really bombastic 80s style. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard one to pull off well. I really liked where was that kind of first drop portion. I thought that might have been my favorite part of the track.
Me too. I felt like after
Yeah.
minute 3, it sort of plateaued a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's great elements, but like it just needs a little bit more. I kept hearing those chords in front, getting some kind of like pitch remapping filter, or like just doing some interesting pitch shifting or timbral shifting, like so that it's subtle, but it's like doing something more progressive or dynamic over the course of the track.
Yeah, a little extra sauce. Or like what I did when I kind of did this style is that you put a little bit of vibrato on those chords, just a teeny little bit. That's little sauce.
Ooh, vibrato, some
Yeah.
some little sauce, some
Yeah.
ear candy.
Some ear candy.
Natty, you're muted again.
I think
Oh, there you
for
are.
me, in
call.
some ways, it kind of, you said the goal was to make something 80s with modern EDM, and while I like kind of what you did, I don't actually feel like it actually matches the brief, as weird as that sounds. It's more of a rock track than an EDM track, and I think part of that is structural. It doesn't really lean heavily in a progressive electronic direction, or festival, everything being big drops and whatnot kind of direction. It's kind of just a rock track with leaning a bit into the Kavinsky synth kind of direction. I was almost expecting some sort of Daft Punk vocoder work to be on top of there, but it didn't really appear. But
Daft Punk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been mad at it. I would not have been mad at it. Yeah, I feel like if I had to speak on it, I feel like that first drop was really kind of like, all right, 80s vibes, EDM sound palette. And the second drop, the one kind of like halfway through the track, that was like, all right, I'm going to lean fully into this 80s vibe, and I'm really going to try and make that work. And that's a hard one to make work. I'm not sure if you quite nailed it for me. I feel like you were really onto something with that first drop.
Yeah. No, it was the strongest. So
Yeah.
keep that energy going from that for sure. But I really, that was a nice vibe. That was a nice like style change.
Chord progression was good. Vibes were good. Loved it.
All right. We got Uvo up next. Any specific feedback that Uvo is looking for? I don't know. I'm on the street walking. Say it how it is.
okay, so that's the reason why I can't ping him, because apparently he's out.
All right. Well, that's cool. I'm fine with that. All right. Let's say it how it is.
All
Uvo.
right. Well, it's really good, Uvo.
Cool breeze. I like
Uvo.
it. Uvo.
Uvo.
All right.
Uvo. Uvo. Come here. Come here. I gotta share something with you, Uvo. You got the same problem that I have. Your second 16s are better than your drops. I can't write drops for shit, but my second 16s go hard. Here's the thing. I think the flow's good, structure's good. I like the writing quite a bit. Chord progression's cool. Choice of synths is cool. I like the track. I feel like there's a really kind of like deep halogenic-y type track inside this one that's just really trying to get out. And I think you got to use a slightly synthier kick, a little less presence, a little less boxy. And your drops, you got to be a little bit more reserved about the atmosphere and sort of like the density that you're trying to like make happen with the track. The first drop, there was a moment, you might have seen me lean forward to check the timestamp, it was about 1 minute and 10 seconds when you started taking those chords out and the track got way cooler because you just kind of let the bass line and the drums and a little bit of that atmosphere, you let that breathe. If it were me, that whole first 16 of your first drop, just take the chords out. Take the chords out. Second 16, little tambourine loop. Bring in a little tambourine loop. It's a cheap trick, but people do it because it works. Maybe bring those chords back, but like drum and bass is about minimalism.
True.
And I feel like a lot of it can be difficult to really wrap your head around that if you didn't grow up in Bristol. And I didn't grow up in Bristol, so I still haven't figured that shit out.
Yeah, but I do love the classic feeling, and I do like the end when the chords come back in. It has this really nice liquidy, like vintage kind of caliber Peter Kay.
Those eighth note filtered chords in the last 8 or 16 of your second drop, beautiful. My favorite part of the track personally. But again, it's because you really just you have to let it breathe a little bit more, strip it back a little bit more. Yeah. That's what I think.
Natty, you got any words to say?
I think the other thing as well is the way you deliver your chords. Like right now, they're basically doing the same overall rhythmic quality the whole way through. When what you really want to do is occasionally shake it up every couple of repetitions. So it's like instead of and at the end of the bar, it'll go or something. I don't know. You can go crazy with your. You might have to freeze your audio down and literally stutter cut it kind of thing, slice it up to actually get the right effect. But that's kind of where I think leaning into the comments about minimalism. Drum and bass is very much just about the drums and the bass, really. They like all your melodic elements are really just in service of keeping the beat interesting. And so if you can bring rhythmic qualities back into your melodic elements, you can kind of tie the two together.
I always have interesting advice. I really like what you have to say, Natty. It's good to be back reviewing tracks. It's good to have you here, Will. It's super cool.
I'm just gonna keep posting dumb gifs in the Discord channel.
Okay, you do that.
All right.
Next up, who we got after this lovely Uvo track? We have insert artist name here. Nathaniel, would you like to give this person an artist name, or is that actually their artist name?
Billy Donkadonk.
All right, we got Billy Donkadonk. Coming up, can you please lean and do your radio announcer voice
For what?
for our newly christened Billy Donkadonk?
We'll load the track first so we can see what their name is.
It's insert artist name here.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Oh, yeah, it is insert artist name here. Okay, that's fair enough.
So,
All right, how cool are the beans? Let's find out how cool these beans really are.
You put me to play.
First off, I want to say that intro was super, super fire, and I almost want to hear like a bunch of versions of it. Like I could hear like a Jersey Club or like a Footwork version of it, and it had like that really nice old school vibe. I did not expect it to go kawaii. It did seem a little bit needs a little bit more polishing on like especially like tightening the low end and just sort of gluing the whole thing together. I think a little bit, but I like the concept and the creativity and. What was your vibe?
I liked it. It's not the style that I usually listen to, but I feel like what you set out to execute, you executed well. I think the only thing that I would want it to do, you have the whole, like the same melody all the way through, and it's a super interesting, super involved melody, and it's really cool, but like make me want it, have it in the first section, your breakdown, do something a little different. Make me wait for it. Bring it back, surprise me with it. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Natty?
The other thing I think is the aesthetic is very arcadey, but I don't ever really hear much use of things like bit crushing until right at the very end, and that fade out bit.
I'm not
to
mad at
hear
it.
I'm
not mad at that.
More moments, in my view, like just little instances, bubbles of pockets of bit crush, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that could be cool.
I'm not mad at it. I don't think that songs in a certain style have to like always return to the tropes of that given style. I felt like I think early on in this song I said like, oh, this is a little bit Konami, This is like, and like I feel like that comparison is fairly apt. If you listen to the soundtrack of any of the Konami games, Beatmania, Dance Dance Revolution, any of it, a lot of them borrow from that same arcade aesthetic, and they are arcade games, so it's appropriate, but they don't always, it's not a whole game of chip tunes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, maybe you could even do
Yeah, that's
something
fair.
that's just like the inverse, like do a part where it gets like clean and modern and changes like for a second. You just be weird.
Do a whole
Orchestral part.
Well, did you ever hear Volume? This producer out of Austria, he flipped Uptight by Aquasky, and he put a whole bossa nova fucking jazz quartet breakdown in the middle of it. I was like, whoa, okay.
Why not?
Oh, what? I love stuff like that. I would love to hear that.
Let's check that out later.
Nice. We got R2Z High up next.
All right, what's going
What's
on?
going on with R2Z High? There's nothing in the chat or nothing in
Nothing going
the
on either.
feedback thing. Did they say anything in the chat?
Not specifically.
All right. Well, we're just gonna listen to Void extended mix. It's 2 minutes and 23 seconds, and it's
Let's
an
go.
extended mix.
Let's go.
Damn.
TikTok generation, here we go.
TikTok generation
Let's
hashtag.
get it. Maybe it's exactly as long as it needs to be. Let's.
gotta be honest, that might have been one of my favorite things I've heard today. That energy was just so much fun.
Nicely executed.
I really, and it was so clean
Nicely
and
executed, yeah.
super tight. I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
I liked it all the way through. Pacing was great. You could put you could put an outro on there if you wanted to. It ends a little abrupt, but you know, it's up to you. It's a taste thing. I think one of the smartest things you did to keep things interesting, that bit midway through the breakdown where you brought the drums in and then the violins that you brought in on top of it, that was very well played, and you played it at the right time. For me, I would see about maybe bringing them in right at the drop. I think that could, or right at the breakdown, the start of the breakdown. But again, it's a taste thing. It works how it is now. Great addition. Both drops. Great rhythms. Great sequencing. Well done.
Very well done. Natty, what'd you think?
I think it's a definite successor to the old big room house stuff, but I think it's way more interesting than what they were doing back then. Like, it clearly plays with the same energy and vibe, but I think that if this is the extended version, this is the version to keep. I wouldn't want it any shorter because, I don't know, I just feel
Yeah,
like
no.
you
Agreed.
wouldn't get enough time to get into that groove otherwise, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely. That should be the normal. I actually want a more extended edition, dude. Like, I want like a DJ edit with like a long, like minimal bass and drum section with the synths out, so that I, as a geriatric DJ, can do my super long mix into my next ADHD glitch tune.
You need your 64-bar intro and outro.
I just come from like that era of like, you just did things live, you know? You just did these like triple layered, like multi.
Sorry, not 64,
Like, it
128.
was like
you mean.
DJing with stems, but they were just minimal rollouts of tracks.
You just had like a DJ Tools acetate or something.
Oh, I have. I was actually just showing some people
Yeah.
my dub plates. It's just crazy. Like, check this out.
What's this?
So back in my day, when you wanted to try out a new tune, you had to get it cut. To
You youngins don't even
you don't even understand. You had to get it cut to acetate. And so when I would play in LA, I would go to this place called, I think it was called Turnstile. Oh, God, it's been so long. And there was this famous mastering engineer guy there. Yeah, everybody loved his stuff. He made stuff. Turnstile. Of course, it's right on the dub plate. Turnstile Records. And I would just, So I would get them cut. And the thing about these is they play on turntables, right? But they're not really vinyl. Like acetate.
Aren't they like metal plates?
Metal
Just like spray?
plates,
Yeah.
and they wear out, so you have to be super careful with them. So as you can see, I've decorated because I was like a 16-year-old girl and I was DJing, and I thought it was so fun to just sit and watch the dub plates get cut, and I would draw little eyes and eyelashes on. Look at this.
Biosphere.
Biosphere.
Question is
Cute
why you
eyes
don't
and
do that anymore.
eyelashes. Hi.
You should have eyes and eyelashes everywhere on everything.
You should have eye. Oh my God! Look, I even did it on the sleeve.
That's how you know it's real.
And I actually, unlike all my other records, these are in really good condition because they only last for like 20 to 50 plays or something. Like, they're really like time bombed unreleased tracks, you know? So there's a little piece of history. History lesson from the geriatric millennial of the week.
youngins never gonna understand what it's like. You youngins.
All right, I'm sorry, John Trent. You've been really great. You've been supporting the stream. We see you. We like you. Thanks for letting me have a little interlude of nonsense.
Yo, big ups to the John Trent though.
Big ups. Natty, do you want to read the feedback?
Yep. I'm new to EDM production, coming more from an indie rock folk background. This
I'm
is my
interested.
first release, a house trance pop blend.
Let's get it.
We're here to stay. Love will hide away.
Whoa, that was a nice. I love all these genre changes that we have all night. Really, really fun selection of stuff.
Yeah. John, I like your songwriting. I think it's written pretty well. I like your vocal performance too. I think it suits the track. Sounds good. I think your drums are wrong. I think you need to, sit down, pick a couple of artists who you really like, be them trance, house, EDM, whatever. Listen to how their drums hit. As somebody who has done some singer-songwriter stuff, some poppy stuff, when you're coming to electronic music, first of all, you need to mix your drums louder. That's just how it works. If you listen to this stuff in a club, the drums have to just absolutely hit you in the face in the club. And it's weird because if it was a pop mix, the drums would be too loud. But if it's an electronic song, the drums are too quiet. You're also falling into the same trap that I fall into, that I've talked about a couple times on the stream already. You gotta moderate the density of your track, because especially modern electronic mixes, what you're doing is you're taking fewer elements and you're crushing them into the limiter even harder. And that's what makes the stuff hit the way that it does. There was one moment in particular in the track where I felt like you actually really nailed it. This section that starts at about 1:14 seconds in, that kind of stripped back, melody forward, that section really worked for me. I think capture what that is for you and try to lean into that. I think lean into that section a bit.
Natty, I think this is definitely in your wheelhouse. What do you think?
Oh, damn. Oh, no.
I think I agree with William here that right now the EDM influence isn't really showing so much in terms of the sound design. Like, it's very synthwavy thing, but like people making poppy rock songs like this for a long time now, so that doesn't really come through as such. And I think part of it is that each transition is just sort of immediate onto the next section, onto the next section, onto the next section. I think a lot of EDM stuff tends to have more fanfare as things change up,
A little bit.
And that's kind of what this track is missing. There's not a huge amount of signposting, which makes it harder to picture in that dance floor context where you're just sort of meant to keep it semi-predictable so that people don't just suddenly lose what they're doing because they're too drunk to have any real coordination.
Yeah. Is his mic still hot?
Yeah.
All right, cool. A couple songs I would recommend you listen to. There's a song by Dua Lipa called Pretty Please. Not only go listen to that, but go check on YouTube for the production breakdown, because the producer behind it breaks the whole thing down. Really, really, really important video. Definitely go watch that. Producer out of LA, Louis Futon, released a song called David Blaine, where I think he really straddles that line between, he goes drum and bass with it, but he does this kind of like singer-songwriter, summery, pop rock drum and bass thing, and I think he pulls that one off really well. Go check those out, see how those hit you. Something to think about.
I love all these recommendations from you. You have so many diverse. It's really cool. I'm getting better at listening to music more often now that I have a commute, but I definitely don't have the time I used to just keep up on stuff. So I'm enjoying remembering and connecting.
Absolutely. And if I'm speaking too fast, and just feel free to hit me up on the Discord and say, hey, what was that track you recommended? And I'll send it.
Yeah, William Light, our special guest from LHI Audio.
That's big facts.
Let's move on to Herb Derbs, who also does not have an artist name. So Herb Derbs it is. I mean, that's not so bad, right? Natty, there's a lot of stuff. Do you want to read this text in character, please?
Okie dokie. The last month or two I've been listening to a lot of old R&B and pop music on my iPod. And it's been mainly a lot of stuff from Timbaland, mainly shock value. I got sick like 2 weeks ago and made this. I'm sick again now, crying emoji. Aww. Hope you feel better soon. I need feedback on mixing and if it fits the style of like old pop music, because that's what I'm going for. I know it's a bit empty, but that's fine because I'm in the process of also looking for someone to rap, sing, I don't know yet. over it, and then I will add a little more trinkets and doodads in it. Also, don't go too hard because I'm 16 and I will cry.
I got you. I got you.
Don't cry, please don't cry.
I got you.
Heart, herb derbs.
Also, old pop music, Timbaland. I'm sorry, Isha, but everyone's just aging you tonight.
I love Timbaland. Timbaland is one of my main reasons why I became a producer. I discovered when I was like 12 or 13 that he was the common thread between all the music that was coming out that I liked. So,
Hey, you want to know a fun fact about Timbaland?
fun fact.
A fun fact about Timbaland? He almost never puts hi-hats in his songs. Most of his beats don't have hi-hats in them. Most of his beats get it done with a kick, a snare, and some bongos.
Wow.
And sure, if you're listening to this and you know Timbaland, you're thinking like, oh, what about this one track where he used the hi-hat? Yeah, but name a couple more. It's mostly the bongos. And the reason that he does that is so that you can crank it in your car and the treble doesn't hurt your ears.
Did he say that?
No, he doesn't, but I'm just assuming.
Oh, when you assume. I don't know.
Am I wrong though? Am I wrong?
I don't know.
You
I'm
can turn
not
that
gonna
up in your
challenge
car.
you.
This sounds great.
All right, well, let's see if he put hi-hats in his Timbaland. Classic, my friend. Classic. I mean,
I mean, great job. I love it. I love the snare in particular. Great choice on that. Fits the beat really well.
oh, look at this. Look at this.
What's that?
That percussion is
Oh,
me
yeah.
slapping on an Arizona can in my backyard.
You see, you've got the right approach. You got the spirit. You know what's going on. I think from a mixing perspective, hi-hats, bring them down a little bit. You also gotta when you're programming in hi-hats, and like I'm not much of a drummer, but I've taken enough drum lessons because I wanted to get better at programming drums. And one thing that I learned very early on is that the velocity that you play on the hi-hats, it's the change in velocity from hit to hit that really gives a rhythm its groove. So instead of just you want you know, you like that's how you push a rhythm forward. That's how you really give it some feel and real groove. I would make your hi-hats do that if I were you. I feel like your kick is missing a little bit of bass. I feel like I wanted the kick to hit me a little bit harder, and your 808 or your sub, whatever it is, was feeling a little bit disconnected from everything else in the track. I felt like I wanted a little more texture out of that.
Yeah, I agree. Actually,
Yeah.
totally. That was the only thing. I could slap a little harder on the
Yeah.
low end, but that percussion, I love that story. Foley percussion
Yeah.
for the win.
Great.
It gives it
Absolutely great. I wouldn't stress too hard about the rest of the mixing things. There's definitely things that I would change, but like leaving room for the vocals. They're going to have plenty of room. It's going to sound great with some vocals or rapping over it. Track gets a little dense in it, but like, again, once you got vocals on there, your drums are mixed really well. Really, really well. So you're going to figure this one out once you got somebody on it.
Yeah, that snare was
Love that snare.
really, really fire.
Love that snare.
Yeah, nice job. And 16
Great job.
years old.
Great job.
Like,
Great
shock
job.
value came out when he was not only a year old.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Well done. Great
All
job.
right, we got Visionary, Viz, and C8O. Tell us more about his collaborator. It would be cool to know a little bit going on and what it's about and everything. So you want to read Visionary's feedback request, Natty?
How to make the intro more interesting, specifically the 8 bars between 15 seconds and 37 seconds. I feel like that part sounds basic and amateur? Question mark. Also, any issues that stand out, mix and master feedback, any ideas to spice things up and make it less of an average EDM track? Whatever else you can think of, thanks. It leaves me with an interesting question. What is an average EDM track? Let's find out, I guess.
All right.
Together.
Visionary and C80.
Let's get it.
I won't lose control. It's my life is. It's my life is.
Whoa! That stunned me a little bit.
All right,
I guess
okay,
it's a whip.
okay. We're gonna run this back real quick. Okay, because here's the thing. Okay, you said something here. Okay, between 15 seconds and 37 seconds. First of all, from about 15 seconds to 30 seconds, it's fine. You're overthinking it. It's great. Don't freak out too much. The thing that happens at 30 seconds, just in that section, we need to run that back because that was cracked. About play it from like 25 seconds or so.
That talking.
That was it. That's that shit. That's that shit. That was heavy. And see, here's something else. The only thing that I could say here, when you switch up your sub a little bit at about a minute in, when you start leaving more holes in the beat, when you start giving it a little bit of room to breathe, I don't know how much clubbing you've done, but those moments like when you're in a club, when you're in front of a big system, there's so much sub all of the time that those moments when there's nothing makes the next hit that much harder. So when you start letting the 808s fade out, when you start cutting the 808s off a little bit early, that section hits harder. About a minute in, when you switch that up.
Yeah, but I love that like vibe, that deep vibe. I was saying
So good.
to Will, it's like
So good.
Forest Festival vibes.
So good.
And that's like my favorite space. You know, I'm not really into like clubbing so much most of the time. I like to be outdoors, and so I love listening to electronic music outdoors because you get that like feeling of space, and it always sounds cool as it bounces off the trees, and you're out in the fresh air, and you're enjoying like some really good bass spins. So that's still my favorite place, and you took me there. So I think you had really good energy. I do think the contrast between the intro and the outro, it's cool, but it's funny. Like I think Kuki said the same thing. Like you sort of think it's clipping and it's a little weird, and then it opens up. And I like the contrast, but I don't know, maybe ramping it up a little bit. It just felt like it was very like it could be. I don't know.
You could maybe strip the intro down a little bit. Like this is the frustrating thing is like I liked the intro. Like 15 seconds, that section where you're like, oh, I don't know about it. Like sounds good. You could strip it down a little bit, but it works the way that it is now too.
No, I don't know. I like this one a lot. I think you're onto something. I think you're onto something here.
Yeah, Natty.
I think your perception of generic has been distorted a bit by Skrillex's Quest for Fire, because this kind of has a similar quality to it. The sort of that. I mean, I get the forest vibe from it, Isha. I kind of get what you mean, and that's kind of where Skrillex has been lately as well with his work. And I wouldn't say it's generic. It's not really been overplayed. It's just you've had one or two really, really big releases in the last year or so that are really, really, really popular. And so maybe you're just... So the question about is this generic, I think that's the wrong question. Is it... it's okay to be influenced by your influences. That's totally legitimate. And as long as your storytelling is still you, and you're not ripping someone else in that sense, you're not trying to be someone else. And I don't think that you have to worry here. There's clearly its own identity going on. So, good job. I would just like the finished track. I want to hear where it's going. So, yeah, nice.
Nice. So I think what we're gonna do is we actually have a lot of time, so I think we could take one or two more. But I also want us to do the plugin of the week because it'd be really cool. So can you do me a favor, and I'm gonna get you to navigate in a browser window to something I can show people.
Oh, what, like a video or something?
No, just like your website or stuff that we
yeah,
can
I can
scan
do that.
through, so we can talk about your plugin.
Sure, yeah, we can do that.
So, and tell us a little bit about LHI Audio.
Oh,
well.
what are we doing that right now? Or are we gonna do
Yes,
another track?
I
real
think
quick?
we're gonna take a break from that because we only have a couple left.
Okay, how about? Well, I don't know. I'm not prepared for anything right now. I'm still
Well,
listening to tracks.
you make plugins, so
I'm
just for
allegedly,
like
like-
just for like 2 minutes. So we're gonna talk.
Sure,
Should I
yeah.
just Google it.
I mean, you just go to lhiaudio.com.
All right, let's check it out and let's tell them a little bit about what LHI Audio does.
So, LHI Audio is just kind of. I started off writing plugins just to kind of see what it was about, and then it went from being stuff that I would write to use in my own songs to starting to share it with other people and then getting good feedback from them and just, pushing and trying to make products out of it. ST4B, which I released last October, almost exactly a year ago, I want to say. Just about. Something like 360 days ago. ST4B came out of some experiments I was doing during the pandemic. Everybody was on Discord. Everybody was just kind of sitting in streams all day. So I was talking with a bunch of producers, sending these little test plugins around. I noticed everybody was using the Transient Shaper. So I sat down and I really... The thing with Transient Shapers, especially in electronic music, is that so many of them are tuned for like acoustic drums. So if you're recording like a drum kit in a studio, or if you've got one in like a live setting, you want to make the snare punch a little bit harder, you can do that. But in electronic music, the transients are so quick and so crisp that most transient shapers just like can't keep up. And if you miss that transient by 5 or 10 milliseconds on an acoustic drum, it doesn't matter all that much because it's a fairly soft sound, all things considered. But 5 or 10 milliseconds late on like a drum and bass kick, and you've missed the most important part of it. So this was months of sitting in Bitwig with breaks, listening to them, and trying to make this thing work. And what I've come up with here, I think, is, if not the best, one of the best transient shapers that you can get for just about any type of percussive material. It gives you it's kind of like if you've ever used a tilt EQ, it's kind of the same thing where you just get to pick, like, for my low mids, do I want them to be punchier? Do I want more transient, or do I want to push the transient down? And do I want to? And you can really play with the sense of like how forward something is in the mix. Like, I actually, something that I never see people using it for, but if I'm layering up breaks, if I'm layering up tambourine loops on top of each other, which, sometimes I'll do, being able to like turn the transient down on the highs so you don't kind of have like clashing high end just kind of like stabbing you. That's, I don't know. I love it. I use it all the time. I wasn't honestly expecting to use it all the time, but like I've used this on everything from bass guitars. I use it on every single snare that comes through my studio. I use it on synths. I use it on like Reese's sometimes. Like you can kind of like accentuate that like Reese beating. I don't know. I worked for a long time on this, and I'm really proud of it. I was really generous with the demo, so if you download the demo, it gives you like 13 minutes of uninterrupted use. So, you know, we all started there. We all had the pirated version of FL Studio, or we all had the demo of FL Studio, and we made the track in it, but we couldn't save it, so we just minimized it and like left it there in the system tray for days. It's the same sort of thing. Download the demo, run some breaks through it, see what you think.
It's a lot of fun, and I gotta say, I really like this simple, clean interface. I'm a big fan of just like this style. You can see everything you need to see, and you can navigate really easily. So
I mean, some of the problem with multiband plugins too is like if you got a multiband compressor, it's hard enough to be able to hear what a compressor is doing when you're just like controlling the impact of drums, right? You really have to like have sat there for a while to hear how a compressor can change the texture of a drum track. And then suddenly if you've got a multiband compressor, you have to listen to that across 3 or 4 different frequency ranges. And like, I make plugins, I get lost doing that too. So I really went out of my way to try and keep this thing as simple as possible and put it on a drum break, turn some of the big knobs, and like, you can hear exactly what it's doing right off the bat.
Nice. Very nice. Cool. Thank you for telling us about that. I cannot wait. Maybe post the link in the chat.
I'd be happy to post the link in the chat. I'll spam the link in the chat. This this stream is sponsored by LHI Audio. Gotta go and buy our plugins. Go buy my plugin. Help me pay my rent.
And do you have any releases going out that people should know about?
Yeah, actually, so I have and we can play later if you wanted to.
Yeah, we should play one of your tracks.
Yeah, we can do that.
We always do, so that'd be cool.
So actually, I'll talk about the upcoming releases if we do that later. How about that?
How about that, my friends?
How about that? I want to hear what's going on with Groove in D minor.
Groove in D minor. All right. What's the feedback on that, Natty? Do you have that pulled up? Nope. I guess there's nothing actually when I'm looking at it.
I thought there was something in the chat.
Yeah, there's.
I think they said something in the chat.
Yeah, they said something in Discord.
Just a second. Just a second. Where was it?
Natty, you can read it. I can read it. It's up to me. It's up to you.
You can read it. You can read it this time.
Sure. So, they are Aniruddha Suresh, 19 years old, and have released 4 tracks out on all the music stores. This is the 3rd one. Pitched it for some playlists, got rejected a lot. Would like an overall feedback out of 10, please.
Oh, I don't like this out of 10. It's so subjective.
It's you know, you've heard me a couple times on the stream say, you know, I would do it this way, but it's a matter of taste. Mm-hmm. You know, so, yeah, let's see what's going on with Groove in D minor.
Let's see what's going on with Groove in D minor by Annie. right.
Okay. I got a couple thoughts on this one. First of all, your drop just after halfway through the song, that's where it all came together for me. That's where all the ideas just kind of clicked into place, and I was like, I see the vision now. I got it. Dope drop. The kind of B section of the drop where you went 4/4 as well, or 4 on the floor, also really cool. I love me some break beats, so I like the first part of your drop. I think that for the rest of the song, you have all of the elements there. You have all of the ideas. It's just a matter of figuring out how to arrange them and put them together to make it work. And again, I think you really did that for the drop. But earlier in the song, before that, it felt like you kind of weren't sure where you wanted it to go or how to put it. So for me, it's just an arrangement thing, and I'm not very good at arrangement, all things considered, so I want to hear what Alicia has to say, because she's real good at arrangement.
Yeah, I mean, I got to agree with Will. We both just looked at each other when that part came in, and we were like, "Oh yeah, like that."
That's it. That's the one.
It just glued. And I think before I was hearing a little bit of clashes. Like it felt like there were certain things where like tails were too long, and they were kind of just. It felt a little more messy, and it also was a little more static. But all of a sudden, you brought this to life with all those little touches. So I would say, maybe bring that bit to that rhythm in sooner. There was a weird kind of clanky thing near the end that I thought was not tuned properly.
I didn't even notice that.
It was like, where is it? Maybe not tuned, but like there's some low mid resonance that's kind of like
Maybe a little bit.
just a little bit, because it's also a little bit detuned, and it's just clashing with the chords to me
Okay.
a little bit, just in the low mid end.
Yeah, okay.
So I feel like that would just clean that up a little bit. And then same with the intro, there was like a few things like that where like, one thing I always tell people is to check your reverb EQ. Sometimes people forget to EQ the reverb, and then you get this like low end ringing kind of resonance that sort of clouds what otherwise is a good mix. So I have a feeling there's like something like that going on, because for some reason, once you started like changing the rhythm and you changed things a bit, I think things naturally just were taking up different spaces that worked a little bit better. So that's my suspicion. But arrangement wise, I would bring in all that like really cool syncopation earlier, because you can tease at it. You don't have to drop it right away. Like I like kind of waiting in a bit, but I think it would spice up the intro a little bit, and maybe some, a little bit more ear candy. Especially some like high end
Ear candy.
Intro. You sound like some kind of like Midwestern day. Hey, is this ear candy?
Hey, y'all got any of that ear candy?
So that's what I have to say. Natty, I know you're also very sensitive to arrangement. What did you think about that?
Well, I'm going to come at this, since some of the comment was about things like submitting to playlists, I'm going to come up with this from a curator's point of view, just for the sake of discussion. I think the reason you've been rejected isn't because your ideas are bad or anything, that because this track wants to be several tracks at once in many places. It starts out almost like a ballad, and I kind of like that vibe. Like the string arrangement in the back, which I really think could be brought forward. I actually really like that atmosphere there. But then you introduce a house beat, and then suddenly it's trying to be something else. And that's sort of a casual pop vibe. But then you got this really intense ballad orchestral thing going in the back. And those two things, they can work together, but you have to be really careful to actually make them collaborate and not be in opposition to each other. And then you go to the bit that William and Isha were grooving the most out to, which was this sort of, I'd call it a Balearic kind of vibe, lounge housey Caribbean kind of thing going on, and it's a really nice atmosphere again, but it's not the same atmosphere as where you were starting. And when you come with submissions, you have to kind of come from the angle of they're trying to create a singular vibe for their playlists, and this is not a singular vibe. And I think that you could make this work as a whole track in its own right, as an artistic statement, but you're going to have to space out your ideas a bit more and explore it and really let it evolve into this extended journey and piece, telling some sort of story. There's even some influence in there. I could see like a tango section kind of going on with some Spanish guitar or something. You know, there's so many directions you could take this idea, I think. And I wouldn't do it now, though. If you've been working on it for a while, take a break, go work on some other ideas. But this is something I really think you should revisit this idea in a year's time, when you've had that space to continue evolving, and you can come back and say, okay, I know all the new directions I could take this and really make it actually stand out its own as a singular piece, an arrangement that is its own body. But again, with the playlist thing, it is a different space. Like, I wouldn't get upset about rejections, because if you're creating for yourself and creating for the things that you enjoy, it's never gonna be precisely in the camp of a singular vibe. I think that's, you know, you have to just take the fact that sometimes you'll align with everyone else's taste, and that you can take those wins. But it's not really a loss to be rejected in this case, because it just means that your singular expression just isn't in alignment with those specific people and that definitive individual vibe.
Wow. Well said, my friend.
Excellent.
Excellent. Good feedback. I'd like to feedback your feedback. Your feedback is very good, Nathaniel.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to play a couple more tracks, and then we're going to play a track from our very own Nathaniel and a track from William Light.
Oh,
so
shit.
we're going to kind of round out this evening very nicely. So we got Ari Myth up next, and Ari Myth said some stuff in the chat, so I'm just going to read it out for a change. First time really trying out the genre. Time to put a bit of my own spin on it and go off the beaten path a little as well. Would appreciate any suggestions about the bridge and maybe the outro as well, and generally any miscellaneous suggestions on enhancing the track's atmosphere. Okay, and then generally going for a more acoustic and synth-wavy take on future garage.
Okay.
Color me interested. Let's go. Let's go. nice vibe. Like that took me to a nice floating place. You had some interesting stuff to say about the drums, Will.
Yeah, I think I don't know if those are the right drums for this track. I feel like the drums are both too big and too small at the same time. I think the snare in particular is huge, but I think because it's so big, you mixed it pretty far down in the track. So it takes up a lot of space, but it also doesn't really hit, you know? So I would go with smaller drums. I would go with instead of a drum kit, or if you're gonna go with any drum kit, like a tighter, jazzier kit, I suppose. But more impacty, kind of like Foley stuff. Like, I feel like I would love to hear like Gashia drums on this. I don't know if you're familiar with Gashia, Gaszia. Can recommend, definitely listen to his stuff. He's got that kind of like, he really nails that like low key drums, or like they sound low key, but then you hear it in a club and it hits. Gashia, definitely check his stuff out. I loved the writing. I loved the chord progression. I loved the way you voiced it. I loved the synths you were using. I would maybe mix it up a little bit. Progression in this type of track where you have the same melody that goes all the way through, you have to be really judicious about when you're using what synths, how much space they're taking up. Like you gotta have variation. You gotta throw more automation in there. Keep things moving a little bit. Alicia, how you feeling?
Yeah, I agree. I think that the vibe was really nice, but it definitely lacked ear candy.
Ear can what?
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
Ear candy.
You pretty
Sorry.
much said it, and I think that maybe even a little like noisy, atmospheric-y, like, weather. Go out and record stuff. Just get some like textures from nature. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
Play around. Get some more like sweeping high end layers. You know what I mean?
Sorry for clipping the mic. The mic stand keeps
How
breaking.
dare you?
Yeah, I have tried to do songs in styles like this, and I always struggle, and it's because atmosphere is really tricky. A lot of it is just going to be surrounding delays and reverbs and like little percussive, drops of paint that you kind of fling around.
Wants to know suggestions for the second half.
What's that?
Suggestions for the second half as well.
I mean, if it was me, I always just like change the chord progression, but I'm weird like that. I'm kind of a dweeb.
But that's cool.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Why not?
Yeah. I think if you were to, you set up a lot of really cool vibe. The writing you've got works well. If you switched up the chord progression in the second half, suddenly you've gone from having kind of like a vibey background track to being like, no, now we're telling a story,
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Natty, what saith thou?
It's the same quality all the way through, which makes it sound more like a sample than a synth or a real
Brass?
instrument. The sort of that, it's in the back there. It's sort of, but it's always so short every time, and having a more points where things are more sustained in the second half again might help you
Yeah, that's
shake
true.
it up and actually make it clear.
That's true. And put some like sparkly, like shimmery reverb and automate that. That can be a really cheap, interesting way to add texture. There's a lot of like cool,
We like cheap,
little
interesting ways.
corners of like reverb and chorus and stuff. Like for instance, in Vital, there's a chorus where if you like turn the values to extremes, you get this like frozen, panning, shifting, delay-ish sort of cool effect. So I would encourage you to like play with extreme some free plugins that I like, or the Valhalla like super massive and space modulator.
Good ones, yeah.
You can just like automate those in and just instantly create a texture, and just make sure to EQ it and don't be shy with it. Like sometimes I'll just take the high end and just really, really like high pass it and just get like that crispy texture and that rhythm, and then not take up too much space, but just give texture and like automate that in and out. So That's what I would do. Yeah, so we got just a couple more and then we're going to play other tracks. So we got Monar. Big special shout out to Monar. So if ILBC is like a full-on crew, my Monar is definitely the third person. She has been instrumental to the development of the channel. We all threw these crazy events together. She's awesome, and she's a musician herself. So we are going to play one of her tracks. Did she say anything, Natty,
May I
about
read
what
her
kind
comment?
of feedback? Huh?
She's looking for general feedback on the production and mixing, especially on the vocals in the bass low end area.
So wicked. And Monar lives in Valencia, back where I used to live. I really miss Spain. I miss her. Hope to see you again soon. Shouts out Monar.
Shouts out Monar.
Siento en el silencio que me mueves, que me mueves. Sabes que lo siento, sé que duele, sé que duele. Y hemos intentado todo, una y mil más. Y es que me mueves. Dios, me mueves. Y aunque todo pinte gris alrededor, no podemos dejarnos como estrellas que se abren camino en la oscuridad. Luz de tranquilidad, yeah. Siento en el silencio que me mueves, que me mueves. Sabes que lo siento, sé que duele, sé que duele. Y es que me mueves. Dios, me mueve. Y es que me mueves. Dios, me mueves. Dios.
Ooh, what a vibe. What a vibe. What is going on? What's fun tonight, huh?
Monar, the writing on this is beautiful. The modulation, the key shift caught both me and Alicia off guard in the best, most pleasant way possible. And then the way you modulate back down from that into the chorus, beautiful landing. Absolutely nailed that. I think in terms of the vocal sound, you have your vocals produced and mixed like you're gonna be in an EDM song. They're really crispy. They're really far forward in the mix. I feel like they don't need to be quite that crispy. You know what I mean?
Because it's got, or also just balancing it with the rest of the track, maybe, because there's definitely some room for some more high end in the track as well.
Yeah, there could be, and that's a stylistic choice. I think that the track, even kind of rolled off and warm as it is, I feel like it works. If that's the sound you're going for, like I feel like you either gotta. I feel like the vocals are a little bit too far out in front. I would pull the vocals down a little bit. 3 or 4 decibels, nothing too crazy. And then I think you have to decide whether you want the rest of the track to be as bright as the vocals, or whether you want the vocals to be as kind of like warm and kind of like gelled together as the rest of the track. Mm-hmm. I think that which you choose is entirely up to your own taste. But yeah, other than that, no notes.
Honestly, I mean, I met Monaro when she was a student at Berkeley, and she has worked her butt off to develop a really, really cool live show. If you go back through some LBC episodes, we check out her setup, and she does a really, really fun show with controllers and loop pedals. And I think I'm excited to see that one live, and I think that you should do some fun visuals for it. By the way, I'm using the latest version of Volta, which is a free XR 360 visuals plugin, so you can use it in like a huge venue with multiple projectors, or you can use it on the stream. And right now it's actually sampling audio from the stream and like resampling the cameras and stuff, which is depending on which world I'm doing. And I have not had time to make any of my new worlds, so I've just been trying out these play packs that they ship with now, and they're pretty fun. It's free. They're just really awesome people, and I feel like it makes your stream a little bit more interesting than just like, nobody needs to look at our face the whole time, you know. We're all right, but
I don't know. I'm pretty.
Yeah, I love using Volta. It's fun.
Well, we love you, Mona.
It's
That's
pretty intense
awesome.
though.
Really awesome. So okay, so we got Kooky. And...
Or wait,
yes?
Nathaniel, did you want to?
Nathaniel.
Yeah, did you have anything to add?
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. I enjoyed it as well, and hearing the translation from Mona about what the song was about, 'cause my Spanish is rubbish.
Yeah, I don't speak Spanish.
It almost reminds me of like one of those sort of romance movies where it's romance with a ghost kind of thing. And even the funky vibe to it sort of actually does lend it to that direction, where not necessarily the other person's dead, but you know, that idea of when someone's gone, you still look back to those intimate moments and you're like, I miss that.
Well, as Mark Fisher, rest in peace, would say, we're not haunted by the ghosts of things that are no longer with us. We're haunted by the ghosts of futures that failed to occur.
That's a very, very beautiful line there.
That is a quote.
Yeah.
Quote of the evening.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. Wow. With that, we're going to play a song by Kooky, and then we're going to play a couple of our songs, and then we're going to go. So it's been amazing night. Let's talk about Kooky's track. You want to read it, Natty?
It's just an idea I worked on one night and decided to scrap it. Should I still try to work on it? I'm going to just default and say yes.
Always. Why not? Why wouldn't you? The answer is yes.
Be in the habit of finishing.
Yes. Finishing is good. Let's check it out. never have to scrap an idea. Like it's not like my vinyl acetates that I was showing earlier. You know, like you just put it away and come back to it. And in fact, it almost sounds like two ideas to me. Like I was listening to it and I felt like I was like watching a DJ cut. Like I was doing that. You might have seen me if you were watching the camera. Like it was like one side, other side, one side, other side. So it really like there's something that it's almost like they're from two different ecosystems, these parts, right? Different sound, different spaces. So I would suggest splitting it into two ideas and honing in on both of them.
So here's what I think. I kind of agree with Alicia in terms of this like two ideas thing. I feel like, you know, you've got your that whole thing, and then you go into the, you know, the sort of like single note kind of like electro housey thing. You can think of that as being two ideas. You can also think of it as being a call and response, right?
Fair.
I like your call more than I like your response. I feel like you could maybe play around and try to find a different response that flows a little bit better. But I will also say, I think more importantly than that, it sounds like from this track, you are still kind of finding your feet with your sound and finding out how you want to arrange songs in your style. And I think you need to finish this song. Because if there's one thing that I wished I had been more diligent about when I was starting out, when I still considered myself a beginner, I wish I had been more diligent about getting in the habit of finishing songs. Everyone I know who is a successful electronic musician went through a sometimes painful period of forcing themselves to finish songs, even if they weren't sure about them, even if they weren't feeling them. You got to finish this song. And you know what? Regardless of whether you're feeling it or not, and I think there's some cool ideas in here. I think you can make this one work. But it's more important that you finish it. And you're almost there. I think slap an outro on this one, call it done. And, you know, take the lessons you learn from it.
Okay, well, at least try an EQ and reverb and like just glue. I would say glue the halves together a little bit more, and then it's done. That's it.
Yeah.
Natty?
I definitely agree with the message there about just making sure you finish things. That's always true. I think for me, what makes this pair of ideas kind of difficult is because they're actually quite in tension in terms of modulation. Like it's constantly going up and down and up and down and up and down, and it doesn't really allow us to really appreciate one or the other enough to really appreciate the change.
That's what I'm saying.
That's kind of where I'm at. Is like if you're going to develop this, it's not that the two ideas don't work together. It's just that you can't just do it constantly. Otherwise, it's kind of just noise at that point, because there's no grounding, no anchor point in terms of chord progression and melodic intention.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it.
That's kind of just where I feel with that. But
I'm not mad at a lot of things.
I'm not. Well,
I'm
here's
not,
the thing, right?
definitely
mad
just
is purposeless.
Listen, it's important in some fields, such as software engineering, being able to hold a grudge is like an important part of the field. You know, like that's the difference between like a junior and a senior software engineer. Senior engineer is holding a lot more grudges. That's how it works. I don't think that's the case in music. I don't think holding grudges gets you very far in music. No. But also, like, I've heard people, like, at this point, I've heard people do all of these things and do them well. Like, there's a song by Vorso called Bad Fuel. He released it a couple of years ago. And he wrote a brief about it, and he was like, yeah, I just wanted to have a fill every 2 bars. He was like, yeah, I just wanted to, like, switch it up and, like, put drum fills in every 2 bars, and you listen to it and you're like, oh, this is crazy and this is hectic and this is out of control, and I kind of love it.
All right. Yes. Well, the time has come to play our
Who's
own
up?
Nathaniel and Daniel McPhee.
Oh shit.
And Natty, please tell us, please give me some ASMR Scottish up close to the mic description of this track, please. Please just do one favor.
So this piece is an instrumental piece. Mainly, like, there's little electronic touches in there, but it's mostly orchestral. I started working on it last year, actually, a version I did actually play on stream ages ago. And then I was like, oh, I think it's basically done. And then I sent a copy to Daniel, and he was like, oh, I want to work on it. And then he went and basically re-engineered the whole thing. And I'm like, oh, damn, I actually like your version more now. So this is actually the version that will be released once I've made some album art for it properly, because that takes me a second sometimes. And Daniel described it as like a late night forest walk kind of vibe, which is what I was hoping for. So hopefully everyone else kind of gets that too.
Oh. Wow, that was really really fresh. Like I did not expect so many moments of that. Of course, we've lost Natty. He's gone black, but I'm gonna assume
Yeah, my camera's died.
he's out there somewhere.
Who knew?
We gotta, yo, I gotta run this moment right here. This moment in about 3 minutes 20 seconds. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of really great harmonic evolutions going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Like things that caught me by surprise, but that also made sense and flowed really well. So I'm really, really impressed by the writing. Definitely. The part in the middle, I felt like there was something going on with the glue right around here. Where is it? Maybe I think I just felt like this little boom, boom. They could almost like punch out at me a little bit more because it's such a beautiful, dramatic moment. Not like trap punchy or anything. Just a tiny bit. I want to feel the roundness in the low mids a little bit. Your camera's still gone. I'll wait till you come back. But yeah, I mean, beautiful. Like it was such a storytelling. I want to know more about like where the instrumentation came from, and I want some geeky stories behind that. So hopefully Daniel can type some cool stuff. Anything else? Like that was a vibe.
No, I'm yeah, no notes.
Sorry, yeah, my camera's completely died.
It's okay.
Damn. Did it like overheat or what?
No, the battery died. It wasn't.
Oh, damn.
Apparently.
I see.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
I'll switch cameras a second.
Well, I just realized I think his mic goes away when it's not there, so I'm gonna leave him here. I'll leave him just a black abyss. Poor Nathaniel. Oh, I see something going on. All right. Well, anyways, we're gonna play our last track of the night. Here he is, and it's gonna be your track. So, what would you like us to play?
I'm trying to think about which track would be a good send off, I suppose. I mean, I could always just do the All About This remix, the one that I played in the car today.
Oh,
I could do that one.
Dude, yes.
Should we do that one?
Okay.
It's kind of heavy. It's kind of loud.
Do you have a link?
I do have a link. Yeah, I got it.
Perfect.
SoundCloud.
All right, this is straight fire. I just want to hear this. I just want to hear this again, man. This is a vibe. So.
All right, so this is a track. The original is from my friend Bunshin. It's called All About This. All About This is a Ryoji Ikeda art piece at 172 BPM. It's a drum and bass song carved out of pink noise, and it is some of the most exacting and precise production I've ever heard. And I had the idea early this year that I should flip it in one of the silliest ways that I knew how to do. And it just so happened that the label that the track was originally released on was putting together a remix compilation at the time. So this one is coming out on the Noi remix compilation as of November, whenever it comes out. Yeah, this is what you do when somebody's song is a little bit too serious. You make it a little bit silly.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Let's do this. I am all about this remix too.
Nowadays it's all about this.
son. That was awesome.
That is a remix of a very serious and fairly seminal drum and bass. I think it came out in 2019 originally, and yeah, it was kind of a love letter. Like my remix is kind of a love letter to like early 90s break records and scratch DJ culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. Oh, it's been such great. Thank you so much to William Light of LHI Audio.
Thanks to our sponsors, LHI Audio, for sponsoring the stream tonight. We really appreciate y'all sponsoring the stream tonight. LHI Audio, ST4B, call it Stab, call it ST4B. I don't care. Go buy that shit. Fix your drums. Get better drums. You deserve them.
You deserve better drums with just one click. You too. I got these drums, this ST4B, and it changed my life. I have an entourage now.
She's not wrong though. She's not wrong. She does have an entourage.
Oh man, thank you, Natty. It's so good to be back with you. Do you have any parting words? Is there anything we should know about what's going on?
Well, I really want to say a good big thank you to William. You've been fantastic, but I didn't expect anything less. But like, you know, you've been
my pleasure.
Such a good company this evening, so I really appreciate it. Thank you, Isha, for having a little bit more time for us now. It's good that your life's getting in order to the point where you can do this again. You know, I did miss you. You. So I'm really glad to have you back.
Oh, well, you know what time it is.
Most important time.
Thank you, everyone, and we just want to say good night.
Thank you to our sponsors, LHI Audio. Yeah.